Excuse me. Good morning, students. Welcome to the session. In this session, we are going to look into the data visualization, which is a very important aspect. Okay. Okay. Data visualization. So far, we talked about the data, how to get the data, what are the data related quality issues, and how to do the cleaning, what are the techniques that we can follow. Then data warehouse, how the data can be stored, which will help for decision making system. So it will act as a support system for decision making for any organization. Then once we have the data warehouse, then we can use the data mining techniques to find the knowledge that is hidden in the that particular data, knowledge or insights or patterns, and using various algorithms that we saw. Some are the supervised learning algorithms and unsupervised learning algorithms, and using which we can identify some kind of a pattern, hidden pattern, that is hidden pattern or hidden knowledge that is available. And data, one of the most important factor is like once we have the all the data available according to the our need, according to the problem statement, according to the objective, data visualization plays a very major role. And data visualization can lead to some information if we provided, if we display the data in certain way, it will give a lot of information by itself. And we know that one picture is equal to 1,000 words. So similarly, data represented in the proper visualization will give lot of information. So instead of using thousands of words to explain that, those visualization itself will speak for themselves. Data visualization is the art and science of making data easy to understand and consume for the end user. So, why it is art? How the data to be presented? It is not only the science, it is not only the technicality, it is the understanding of the data itself. Then how it can be represented in an effective way. That is nothing but a art, and which also comes with a good business knowledge, good knowledge about the data and how it can be presented. Ideal visualization shows the right amount of data in the right order, in the right visual form to convey the high priority information. So when you are using the data to be presented, we have to think about the right amount of data. Sometimes too less is a problem, too much of a data is a problem. We have to understand appropriate amount of the data is required in order to convey it effectively, and we have to use it in the right order. The order will determine some of the information, it will reveal some of the information, and we can use, there are many visual forms that are available, we will look into that. You should use a suitable visual form that is more appropriate for that kind of a data. The right visualization requires an understanding of the customer's needs, nature of the data, and the many tools and techniques available to present the data. So, whenever we are talking about the data, we just don't talk about it as a some numerical fields, some text fields, some characters. Data is like it has a hidden information as per the business. So understanding of that meaning of that data is very very essential. For example, if you are working on any healthcare system, understanding the data elements of the healthcare system that will help you in getting a better visualization. If you are working on any financial projects or banking projects, understanding those banking terminology and understanding that data, that will help in solving the problems and displaying the using the right visualizations. And the many tools and techniques available to present the data. There are many tools and techniques that are available to present the data. Right visualization arises a complete understanding of the totality of the situation. Okay, so it gives a complete picture. What is the totality? We can using the right kind of a visualization, we can get the correct picture of the whatever the topics that we are trying to cover. For example, company's sales figure. Okay, so we can put out right command, kind of a visualization that will tell the complete sales situation of the organization, how it is doing good, bad, what areas are problematic. So with a clean visualization, it will be very easily be understood. One should use visuals to tell a true, complete, and the fact-based story. The reason behind why we have to tell a true story is how you prepare your data, the quality of the data, what are the sources of the data, how well you have understood, how well you are presenting. So that is how you can make the whatever the story you are telling through the visuals is complete and it is based on the facts. Excellence in visualization. The excellence in visualization can be achieved using many means. Can be presented in the rectangular tables. So that is how, like, whatever the data we get structured or unstructured, we will convert it into a rectangular structure, and then it can be presented using a various types of graph. It could be like a small, non-comparative, highly labeled data sets usually belong to the tables. However, as the amount of the data grows, graphs are preferable. Graphs will give shape to the data. So whatever the data we have, it will give a shape. So that is how we can use the many of the graphical representation will be very useful. In order to achieve the excellence in visualization, first thing is we have to show and even reveal the data. So we have to the data should tell the story, especially story hidden in large masses of the data. However, reveal the data in context so that story is correctly told. So the data will reveal something. It has to match with the context. What context you are talking about, it should match. Induce the viewer to think of the substance of the data. The format of the graph should be so natural to the data that it hides itself and lets the data shine. Means it is not the presentation of the graphs, it is the presentation of the data that will be on the foreground. Avoid distorting what the data have to say. Statistics can be used to hide the truth. In the name of simplifying, some crucial context could be removed, leading to distorted communication. So, see, there are many statistical way which can be used in order to distort the fact. Right, whatever the fact the data is saying, you can use the kind of statistics on top of that, and you can distort the information what the data is trying to tell. Make large data sets coherent. By giving a shape to the data, visualization can help bring the data together to help comprehensive story. Encourage the eyes to compare different pieces of the data. Okay, organize the chart in a way the eyes would be naturally moved to derive the insights from the graphs. Suppose you have sales information, let us say region wise. So if you have the similar kind of a graph side by side, then eyes can visually make a comparison and they can conclude some of the information from those visuals. Reveal the data at several levels of detail. uh, Graph should lead to the insights, which raise further curiosity, and thus presentation help to get to the root cause. So, whenever we are displaying certain data, it should drill down. Normally, we will be presenting the summary level data, which is at a very high level. If required for any kind of analysis, that should be drilled down. Serve a reasonably clear purpose. That is like the decision making process. The whole purpose of the visualization is to make some kind of a decision. So it should serve that purpose. Closely integrate with the statistical and verbal descriptions of the data set. There should be no separation of the charts and text in presentation. Each mode should tell complete story. Intersperse text with a map or a graphic to highlight the main insights. So we have to closely integrate the verbal as in the statistical description. Context is more important in interpreting the graphics. So what context we are talking or interpreting the graphs, that context is very important. Okay. Perception of the chart uh, is as important as the actual charts. Do not agree the intelligence or the biases of the reader. Keep the template consistent and only show the variations in the data. There can be many excuses for graphical distortion. For example, we are just approximating some values, so the data will get distorted. Quality of information transmission comes prior to the aesthetics of the chart. So looks comes later, the quality comes first. Leaving out the contextual data can be misleading. So the data that is represented has to be a contextual according to the what purpose it is serving of the decision making. So based on that, based on business, different types of a business requirement, there are different types of charts. There are many kinds of data seen in the everywhere, like wherever you see anything presented based on the data. For example, quarterly results, then financial results, academic results. Anything can be represented as like a graph or a chart or a bar chart. So these are the some examples. We have line graph, scatter plot. This is the line graph. Then this is the scatter plot. Line graph, it will join all the data points that are available, and this will be helpful in seeing like the trend, what the trend is. Scatter plot will give the distribution, how your data points are distributed, and maybe there is certain pattern to be followed. For example, regression. Looking at the scatter plot, you can find like the best fitting curve could be something like this, right? Which will go right like this and somewhere like this. That is the best fit line for the regression purpose. Then we have the bar graph. The quantities are represented as a bar. Then we have stacked bar graph. Okay. Stacked bar graph is, we will have stacking of the bar. We'll see the example for that. Then histograms, based on the, it is similar to the bar graph but based on the frequency. Then we have the pie chart. This is a pie chart. Then we have box charts. Okay. So this is one example of a box whisker. Box charts, you must have seen in machine learning like area, if you have worked on or if you have attended any seminar. Box charts, they give the statistical information about certain quantity. It will give the average value, mean, median, then the outliers, how the outliers are positioned. Those information can be clearly understood from the box charts. Then we have the bubble graph. So this is the representation of the bubble graph. Then we have dial. Then we have geographical data maps. Geographical data maps will include the maps and some information represented on those maps based on any particular criteria. For example, recently we had the a storm. So then, like we had a geograph India's chart, and whichever area is affected, our coastal area, and you will see the graph. So it will show the intensity of the storm at various places. Then we have the pictographs. Pictographs are like information is represented as a pictures as well. So that is that kind of a graph. So first one is the line graph. This is a basic and most popular type of displaying information. We have used line graphs in many of our analysis in mathematics and science and everywhere. It shows data as a series of points connected by straight line segments. If mining with the time series data, time is usually shown on the x-axis, and multiple variables can be represented on the y-axis, and we can compare those multiple variables. Suppose we have this is a timeline, and we have multiple variables. Let us say company total sales, okay, and product wise sales according to the timeline. So you can see that you can do a comparison there itself with those different kinds of graph. Then scatter plot. This is another basic and very useful graphic form. It helps reveal the relationship between the two variables. If I plot the scatter plot against the two variables, one variable on the x-axis, one variable on the y-axis, we can find the relationship between those two. That is called as a correlation. We can find the correlation between the two variables, whether they are highly correlated, whether they are not correlated. If they are correlated positively, or they are correlated negatively. Those kind of information can be found from the scatter plot. That is most frequently used in the machine learning problems. Then we have the bar graph. This is the bar graph. A bar graph shows a thin, colorful rectangular bars with their lengths being the proportional to the values being represented. So their height would be the proportional to the quantities they are being represented. The bars can be plotted vertically or horizontally. So either you can see like this, or you can see like this, depending upon which one makes more sense. The bar graph uses a lot of more ink than the line graph, and should be used when line graph are inadequate. So if you are using a print media, then you have to think about using a bar graph. Then stacked bar graph. Stacked bar graph is like similar to the bar graph, but we will be having the stacking of the bars. This is a particular method of doing a bar graph. Values of multiple variables are stacked on one top of the other and tell an interesting story. Bars can also be normalized, such as the total height of the every bar is equal to, so it show the relative composition of each other. For example, if you are trying to show the stack bar, where every bar is 100%, but the composition of that would be different, right? That composition would be represented by the a stacked bar graph. For example, if you are representing sales figures, and based on the orders. So if you want to classify those orders as medium size orders, then very small orders, very large orders, let us say you're categorizing. So every sales figure here can be represented as 100%, and that 100% will be represented by the three. There is the small orders, medium orders, and the large orders. So that is how you can use the stacked bar graph. Then histograms, they are like bar graphs, except that they are useful in showing data frequencies. So whichever is having more frequency or less frequency, that can be shown using a, a histogram. So they are useful in showing data frequencies or data values on classes of a numerical variable. Then we have pie charts. These are very popular show of the distribution of the variable. Many a time market segments are shown using the pie charts, and so that using that we will easily come to know what is the percentage of each of the different segments. The size of the slice is representative of the relative strength of each value. So where each slice will show how much worth that particular segment is. Then we have the box charts. These are special from the charts to show the distribution of variables. The box shows the middle half of the values, while whiskers on both the sides extend to the extreme values in their direction. Those are called as outliers. It is very useful in showing in a one box chart. We can see how variation is in the data. Means how many are the outliers we can on the both the ends, and what are the different statistical information that can be shown, like average value, mean, median, all those things can be shown. Then we have the bubble graph. This is a bubble graph. This is an interesting way of defining two dimensions. Now imagine that each data point is in 2 dimensions. Now imagine that each data on the graph is a bubble, or just a circle. The size of the circle and the color fill in the circle represented two additional dimensions. So scatter diagram, we have 2 dimensions. This will add another 2 dimensions. One is the color of this each of this circle, and the size, right? The areas are different, representing the whatever the variable we are trying to represent the area of that circle with. So some are small, some are big. So that is a representative of some kind of a information. Next, a dial. These are the charts like the speed dial that shows whether the variable is in a variable range, medium range, or a high range. These ranges could be colored in red, yellow, green to give an indication. Then we have geographical data maps. So this is one geographical data maps where this is the tweet map of America. So we can see like how the tweeting is happening. Uh, I don't know when this for particular time frame. So you can see like there are a lot of tweets, or the this is a darker area on the east coast compared to the west coast. Graphical data maps, these are particularly useful to denote the statistics as shown in the figure. The tweet density of which is represented as a map. Next one is the pictograph. As I told you, we use the pictures for the representing the data. Those are called as the pictograph. In this particular diagram, you can see the water footprint. Okay, water footprint, and different products are there. Barley is there, wheat, sorghum is there, millet, and so on. Different products are there, and you can see one is a number here, right? Maybe this crop is using this much water. Okay, and you can see the water drops. Okay, the number of liters of water needed to produce 1 pound of each of these products, where images are used to show the products for easy reference. Each droplet of the water, whatever the droplet you are seeing here, it is representative of the 50 liters of a water for producing 1 ton of that particular product. Now you can see here, looking from the this pictograph, you can see millet consumes the highest water. So millet requires a lot of water, and producing tea, it requires a very less water. So that is a representative of the uh, this particular diagram. So pictographs are very, very useful in terms of like giving a lot of information. So you can also, so I told you each of the droplets is like a 50 liters. You can easily count how many liters they would require. And also looking at this figure, you can easily find out which one takes the highest, which one takes the least amount, and which are the crops which takes the average amount of the water. Next is we will look into one visualization example. To demonstrate this visualization example, we have a data. Just I have cropped the data. It is you can refer to the textbook. The data is like still bigger list. Just I cropped it. What information we have is we have a product, some product. What is the revenue that is generated by that product? How many orders and how many sales persons are there? Sales representative. That information is there, and this is ordered by the revenue in a descending order. So we see the highest revenue, that product is listed on the top, and then we have the descending revenue. From this diagram, we can easily say the AA product has the highest revenue, next BB 355, then CC, sorry, this is order by the number of orders, not the revenue. This is number of orders. We have 43 here, BB, and CC it is 32, DD 31, and so on. Now, this sorted data is added with some more additional ratios that will give a useful information. For example, revenue per order, how much revenue we are getting per order. So you can see here the revenue per order is the highest here for AA 74.3, 38.3, 31.4, and so on. Then revenue per salesperson means how many salesperson we have, 23, and the revenue what we are generating is this much, 9,731 divided by 23, we get it as 423.1. This is the revenue per each salesperson. So is the revenue per each salesperson in different products. Then orders per salesperson. So this information will tell how many orders are getting by each salesperson. So if you say here AA, there are 5.7 orders that are brought in by the each salesperson. So if you see here the number of orders brought in the other products, it is less. So here you can see the number of products that are brought by the salespeople are the highest. So 9.8 orders per salesperson. So if we plot the pie chart by revenue share by the product, revenue share, we already saw the revenue of the product AA is 9,731, and next one is the HH 5,116. So you can see these are the revenues 5116, and KK is 3833. Now, if from looking at the graph, you can see that almost one, like a three-fourth, okay, almost three-fourth of the revenue is coming from the these three products only for the organization. So it will give a lot of useful information where these products can be focused on. So it depends on the what kind of a strategy that company organization wants to have. If these products are very strong, they will try to consolidate more in the market, and these are the products where the revenue is relatively less. They will focus more strategies or energy on making to improve the sales in these particular products. Then orders by products, how many orders we get for each of the products, that is the we had second column. So based on this, right, 131, 132, 122. So we can draw a bar chart. A has about 131 or 132, HH, so on. So you can see the different orders by they are divided by the different products. That also gives a very clear information like which orders are high, which orders are less, and orders by uh, order size. as I told you, like the this is a stacked bar graph. So this is stacked bar graph where every bar is exactly of the same length, which represents the 100%. So each of these sales, they are divided by the order size, and order size are divided as like a small, tiny, small, medium, and large, and they are represented with that color. So it is not really clearly visible, but they are, all these stacked bar graphs are painted with these four colors in order to make it as 100%. So for the AA product, what are the tiny orders, how much portion is the tiny orders, how much portion is the small orders, how much portion is the medium orders, and how much is the large orders. So it is indicative of which particular product is good in what kind of a orders. So some products are very good in tiny orders, or some products are very good in the large orders. That kind of a information can be revealed from this particular stack graph. This is salesperson productivity. It's a line graph. The this red color line you are seeing, it is the revenue per salesperson. If you see the revenue per salesperson, the revenue is highest for the product A, 423 units. So here we know that the revenue that is coming from each salesperson is very very high in this particular product, and very very low in this particular product. So that is product BB. So the leadership team can focus more on this, where the revenue per salesperson is less. Maybe like in this particular product, the sales force is not knowledgeable, or that they are not able to present effectively, or more training is required. So that can be figured out here, so that this sales can be improved. Similarly, you can see orders per salesperson. You can see 5.3 for the product AA, and so on. So we can see like what is the lowest. Again, here lowest is DD, number of orders that are getting by the salesperson is less here, which is also which is in a close relation with the. If you see the relation between these two, it is like almost like a declining. Okay, so they have similar relation between the order per sales and the revenue per sales. If order per sales can improve, then definitely revenue per salesperson will also improve. Tips for data visualization. We have to fetch the appropriate data. That is the most important thing when we are doing the data related analysis. This requires some understanding of the domain of the client, and what important for the client this data is. For example, the in a business setting, one may need to understand the many measures of profitability and the productivity. Those things has to be analyzed. Sort the data in the most appropriate manner. We saw like by sorting we get a kind of information. When we sorted the revenue column, we came to know about the what is the product which is getting the highest revenue, what is the product which is getting the least revenue. Choose appropriate method to present the data. The data could be presented as a table or any other graph. We have to select appropriate visualization. The data set could be pruned. This is done to include only the more significant elements. More data is necessarily better, unless it makes the most significant impact on the situation. If you have redundant data, or data which is not that much useful, it will not help us in doing any kind of a analysis. The visualization could show additional dimension for the references. So for example, like we got those ratio, okay, and we got the two line graphs drawn in the same diagram. So that will give us some additional dimension where we have the reference for our analysis. Numerical data may need to be binned into few categories. What is the meaning of a binning? Binning is like whatever the continuous variables you are bin into certain groups. you don't want to have the continuous variables for the analysis. Let us say if there is any parameter related to age, you will group into the certain age group rather than having the continuous age. You will bin among like 1 to 18 group, then 19 to 30, 30 to 45, whatever is as per the business, whatever makes sense, that can be those values can be binned accordingly. High level visualization could be backed by more detailed analysis. For the most significant result, drill down may be required. So, whatever the information that is shown, there should be provision to drill down to the most detailed analysis or the most detailed information. Need to present additional textual information. We have to provide not only the visualization to support, we have to have the textual information about those visualization. So questions on visualization, you can see module 3. Okay. Okay. List and describe the various charts used for the data visualization. That is one question here. In the next question paper, confusion matrix. Okay. Okay. What do you understand by the term data visualization? How it is important in analytics? How important it is big data analytics? So those are the two questions. There are many repeated questions that can be referred to the previous question paper. So there are repeated questions that we can put our focus on, and we can prepare well on those particular repeated questions. Conclusion, data visualization is the last phase of the data lifecycle and leads to the consumption of the data by the end user. It should tell an accurate, complete, simple story backed by the data while keeping it insightful and engaging. So that is a challenge for the data scientist or the business analyst who is putting forth that particular data. There are innumerable types of visual graphing techniques available for visualizing data. The choice of the right tools requires a good understanding of the business domain. So whenever we talk about the data or data science related field, understanding of the business is very, very important. Understanding of the business, understanding of the data. So it will boil down to those aspects. There is ample room for creativity to design even more compelling data visualizing to most efficiently convey the insights from the data. So that is how the data visualization is very, very important for any kind of a organization.